What is going on, family? Welcome back for another REI Genius exclusive. We got our masterclass tonight, each and every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I appreciate you all tapping in with us. This week, we have a special guest. We're going to be talking about marketing. And I have Patrick here with us from Dream Big Digital Products. How are you tonight, Patrick?
Johnny, I am doing awesome and even better now that I'm in front of you. And so I'm excited to share some really great tips, some SEO strategies regarding blogging and how you can use that, as you mentioned earlier in some of your promos, to get a ton of motivated seller leads.
No, 100%, 100%. And and I tell people that marketing is the lifeblood of your business. If you're not marketing, you're not in business. And I always equate it. You look at McDonald's and Coca-Cola and just the longevity of being in business decades and decades, but yet they still market. They're still out here advertising. They still have a marketing budget, and they're fighting for attention. And it's no different with us as real estate investors. In order for us to be successful with bringing in leads, we have to get in front of more and more people, and more people have to know about our services. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I go back many decades. I started out as a real estate agent and broker in the state of New Jersey, northern New Jersey. Did that for about a decade. And then I stumbled onto my first fix and flip about 33 years ago. So I've been an active investor, developer, builder in northern New Jersey for quite a long time. I'm now currently based out of Miami. My company is Florida Express Home Buyers. And I have a second business, which is Dream Big Digital Products. We create digital products and software applications for real estate investors.
Nice. Awesome. Well, it's great having you in here. Just over these, I always, when I hear people, that's a little bit wiser than me, I'm always thinking through the question like, oh, I got to come up with some good questions. What have you seen on your marketing journey that, now you've seen the evolution from direct mail to, ringless voicemail, text messages, postcards, letters. What have you seen? I kind of got an idea that, I'll tell you right up front, and then I'll get your opinion. But really, it's, you got to pick something and be consistent. Whatever it is, that you got to be consistent at it and follow through. But what have you seen a truth that has kind of stood the test of time across the different media types and the different options that we have as real estate investors to get in front of our avatar?
Well, I'll tell you, you said it. I think you said it at the onset. Marketing is key. I remember, this is before the internet was around, so I feel like a dinosaur. But I remember what we used to do was the yellow pages. You got the biggest ad on in the yellow pages. For those of you that are younger that don't know what it is, that's the phone book, a phone book, a public phone book where you could find information about different businesses. So it was snail mail. And then good old-fashioned face-to-face networking, whether you joined the Kiwanis Club or the small business association. It was that good old-fashioned networking to get your name out. Marketing, obviously, whether it's snail mail, whether it's email, is crucial. However, you said something really interesting, Johnny. Stick to one or two, I would say maybe 1-2 things that you're really good at, that give you a good ROI. Don't try to take, that shiny object syndrome that we all talk about. Don't try to do 5 or 6 different strategies at once, because you're sure to fail. So concentrate on cold calling if that's what attracts you, on door knocking if if you enjoy being outdoors, on mail, on the old-fashioned mail, if that's a strategy you like. But try to become an expert, or at least to get really good at one strategy before you add on another strategy. That would be, I think, the key takeaway here. Make sure that you stick to one strategy at a time, rather than trying to do 6 or 7 different strategies all at once.
Awesome. No, I love it. I love it. That's good. I get some validation now from my clients that, the feedback that I've been telling them. So, but yeah, without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you and kind of let you go into blogging and kind of sharing with us tonight on our topic.
Sure, Johnny. So what I'm going to do this evening is I want to teach you your audience, what are the strategies? What are the techniques? What are the SEO strategies that one needs to employ when you blog? I will say from my own experience, to me, blogging is king. Blogging is a way for you, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, to get out of that circle, that what I like to call that rat trap, where you're constantly trying to get leads by either constantly cold calling, or constantly emailing, or constantly door knocking. Blogging is a way for you to be able to get leads almost on autopilot. So I'm a firm believer in using evergreen blogs, using an evergreen strategy, rather than that consistent rat race of trying to get leads. I'll get to that a little bit later, but Johnny, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen with your audience. So give me one sec.
Okay.
And let's see here, and here we go. So and we should be ready to rock and roll. Johnny, tell me if you can see over my shoulder on the page that says REI Content Starter Pack.
Yep.
Very well. Very well. Wonderful. So what I'm going to start off with, and by the way, Johnny, if there's some questions from your audience, please throw them my way. If Johnny, if there's a question that you have, please interrupt me. I love to be stopped, and to get clarification if need be. But what I'm going to start off, and this is a half hour, 40 minutes of pure value. So when we create blogs, and when I've created blogs, and I started blogging, gosh, about 15 years ago, or even more. But when we create blogs, we try to use a set strategy to creating them, and it's so that when we blog, we can leverage the power of blogging. We can leverage the Google in order to drive traffic to our websites. So with that said, the first thing you want to look at when you're going to blog is a compelling title. And that's the hook. The title of your blog is the hook that's going to attract a reader to read your content, to not to X out of a page, but to read what follows. So when you're going to create a blog, think very clearly about a compelling title. Now, you might say, hey, Patrick, that sounds great, but what does that mean exactly? And one tool that I use, and I'm going to share a bunch of free tools. One tool that I use in order to create a compelling title is coschedule.com. They have headline analyzer. And so whenever we create a blog, we always run it through this free app in order to get to optimize for word balance, for the length, for what they call keyword density, and for sentiment. It's a really great tool so that when you write a title, you run it through CoSchedule, and it'll give you this information so that you can tweak it in such a way that it's a title that's, as I said, it's going to hook a reader. So that's number one. That's the first thing.
Okay.
The second thing, which is really important, is when you write a blog, you're writing for two audiences. You're writing for a motivated seller. Motivated sellers are querying questions or asking questions to Google, every day. And so they're looking for solutions to their problems. They're looking for ways to resolve their issues that they may have. So they're going to be Googling, how to sell a house that's fire damaged, or how to sell a house with foundation problems, or whatever the case may be. So they're looking for information. And what you want to do is you want to position yourself as an authority that answers that question. You want to position yourself as a resource for people that are looking for answers. That's really what blogging is all about. It's if I break it down in a nutshell, blogging is answering questions that people are asking on Google. It goes much more than that, but that's your first audience. Your second audience, unfortunately, but your second audience are those Google bots. So those Google bots that read your blog, they need to understand what is the topic, of your blog. They need to comprehend as much as they can, but the Google bots need to understand what's there. Now, obviously, they don't have a brain like you and I, but we can communicate the text, the information by not only the copy that's in it, but by keywords. Keywords are the main way to communicate with those Google bots. So when you create a blog, and that's true right from the title, you want to make sure that you're using an article, that you're writing a blog that has some keywords that people are Googling, keywords that people are entering into Google. Now, again, you might say, hey, Patrick, that sounds great, but how do I do that? It just so happens that there's a couple of ways, but one way that you can find keywords that people are Googling, that are entering in a Google search, is simply by what is called predictive keyword phrases. So in other words, if I were to type, Johnny, if you were to type how to sell a house, you don't even finish, and this is an example of a screenshot, you don't even finish the sentence, and then Google is going to give you a bunch of different keyword phrases. Now, these keyword phrases, they're not here just by chance. They're here because the more people enter a query with needs repairs, the higher, the more likely that Google is going to recommend that predictive keyword phrase. So it's easy as that.
So essentially, Google has done the homework. They understand what people are searching for. So they're just suggesting to kind of beat you to the punch to say, hey, yep, this is highly likely what you're about to type in the search engine based off the couple words that you already have input.
Correct. And then guess what? You got a title for a blog. In fact, just here we've got a title for about 6 or 7 or 8 different blogs that we could write, and they already have the keywords that people are searching. So that's important. Now, there's a second way that you can find keywords. You'll notice that when you enter a query in Google, at the bottom you'll see what's known as Google's related searches. So at the bottom, you're going to see where Google is going to suggest other keyword phrases. So in the example that I have here, you'll see at the bottom, how to sell a house fast in a slow market. That's a wonderful blog, a title, and you can write an article about that. Or creative ways to sell a house. It goes on and on. And by the way, right here, we have probably a dozen or more, maybe even about 20 blogs that we could write just from this query that I didn't even finish writing. So it's easy to find those keywords because Google does all the heavy lifting for you. Having said that, it's important to keep something in mind. It's important that when you write a blog that you use long tail keywords. And the reason for that is that it's very hard to rank for a short-term a short tail keyword. So let me explain, Johnny, the difference. And I'll give you an example of a pizza. If I were to Google pizza, chances are that's a very short, a tailed keyword. It's one word. Chances are that the results would be places like Papa John's and Pizza Hut and Domino's, the big players in the industry. Now, if I owned a pizza shop back in my old neck of the woods in New Jersey, in Patterson, New Jersey, and it was Patrick's Pizza Shop, believe me, I would not wind up on that first page. I couldn't compete against, all these franchises. However, and this is key, if I use long tail keywords, the likelihood that I can wind up on what's known, on that search page, it's the search engine results page, on that first search page, it skyrockets. It's much higher. For instance, if I were to write a blog about Patrick's Sicilian Pizza in Patterson, or the best pizza in Passaic County, or I think you get my drift. So if I use a longer tail keyword and somebody is driving through Patterson, or their ISP is in their phone is near Patterson, and they type pizza in Patterson, guess what? Domino's is not going to come up, nor Pizza Hut. chances are that they're going to see my blog. And if they see my blog, guess what? They're going to click on it and they'll visit my website. So as a real estate investor, when you're writing a blog, it's important to use long tail keywords. So I would say something, for instance, Johnny, how to sell a house that needs repairs in Des Moines, Iowa, or Miami. That's a way for you to reduce the competition for those keywords. And if you write enough content, if you write enough blogs, believe me, because that's one of the ways we've generated and continue generating motivated seller leads. If you write enough content, you're going to be found. So that's a little bit about the power of using long tail keywords. Now, alongside with this, or rather, let me switch and then I'll get back to hyper-local focus. But alongside, one other thing you need to keep in mind when you're writing, and this is semantically related keywords, by the way, that's an SEO strategy that you need to employ in blogs in order to get the most SEO juice. And so when you're writing a blog, we spoke about a compelling title. We spoke about long tail keywords. It's really powerful if you use semantically related keywords. So they're keywords that are similar to your primary keywords. Again, you're going to say, well, that sounds great, but where do I start? There's another free tool that you can use, and it's known as the LSI graph. And you can just go ahead and pop in. By the way, while you're at it, if you want to take a screenshot of this, you'll see this URL here. You can visit REI Content Packs. And if you click in where it says REI Content Starter Pack, you can revisit this page at any time. You can also, and I'll go on a tangent for a second, reach out to me. If you want to reach out to me, pick my brain. I won't charge you a penny. I'll be more than happy to do that. So getting back to the topic. So an LSI graph, this tool, will give you the semantically related keywords. Again, we're doing this more so for Google, but it'll also help you discuss related topics, related issues, related information to your primary keyword. And so if you're sell your house fast, you'll notice that LSI graph will give me, and by the way, there's probably about 40, semantically related keywords. So you don't want to force it. You never want to force your content to just please the Google bots. You want it to be natural. So I'm not going to go ahead and take all of these semantically related keywords, but if there's one or two that I could include in my copy, then that's really, really important. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, one thing that many bloggers fail to do is use internal linking. So I'm switching gears for the moment, and I'm going to talk about internal linking and why do you want to use internal linking, and what's the power behind internal linking. So internal linking is simply directing people that are reading one of your blogs to another one of your blogs, to another one of your blog posts. So you want to make reference, try to create a matrix where if I'm talking about, for instance, issues that I could have when closing on a home, or what to do if my house doesn't appraise, and you have something that is related to it in another blog, try to create an internal linking strategy or internally link one blog to the other. It'll do a couple of things. Number one, if I visit, Johnny, your website and I Google in how to sell an inherited house, or I'm going through divorce, how to sell my property, and I'm reading a blog, and all of a sudden I stumble into a section about the best way to position my house or to stage my house, and I click on that blog to another blog that you've written. Now the lights go on and I say, oh, this guy Johnny knows what he's talking about, because he's delivering valuable information to me. So that's number one. So Johnny's authority, his expertise shines through the blogs. And then number two, and of course, as I mentioned, we're writing for two audiences. Number two, the Google algorithm looks for the following. It looks for how many people visit your website, first of all. But it also looks for how long the people that visit your website are engaging with the content. So if there's a visitor that lands on your website, reads a blog, maybe reads a second and even a third blog. Rather than being on your blog for 2 or 3 minutes, they might be on your blog for 10 or 15 minutes. And that's an indicator. That's kind of a little box that's checked in the eyes of Google. And they say, oh, the people are finding the content that's here. They're finding it valuable. That's much different than if somebody enters and just exits out. So those are one of the SEO strategies that will help your blog and your website wind up on that first, on that first service page. So keep that in mind. That's really important to make sure that whenever possible, you link to other content that you have, that other blogs that you've written. And now, alongside with that, there's also external links. Now, there's arguments as to you shouldn't link externally because you're going to lose traffic. I always use external links for the following reason. I want to provide as much information to the reader as possible. So if I could link the content that's related to my blog, and it's a tool, a way rather, for the reader to learn more about, the query, about their question, then they're going to be appreciative of it. So what we always do is at the end of the blog, we always add more helpful tips. In this case, for example, more helpful tips and resources for understanding and avoiding closing delays. And what I want to do is to create external links, link externally to high authority sites. Now, why do I want to do this? All this information you see here is going to be helpful for the visitor, but here's where we're helping addressing that second audience. When the Google looks at the website and they see that there's internal links, they see that people are staying on your page, you've got keywords, you've got semantically related keywords, and they see that you're linking to other high authority websites, that's another box that's checked off from that SEO perspective. So that's something important to keep in mind. Try to see if you can find other content that you can include in the blogs that could augment that, the advice that you're sharing, or the strategies that you're sharing. Now, going back for a second to the long tail keywords, and I mentioned it briefly, but it's critically important to make sure that your entire website and but specifically your blogs are hyper local focused. In other words, you want to mention in the copy of your landing page, in the About Us section, and in the blogs, you want to mention the town or the city or the county that you work in. And the reason you want to do that is that's an indicator for Google that if somebody is searching to sell their house in Savannah, Georgia, that Google is not going to give them the results of somebody in Albany, New York. They're going to give them a results of somebody that's writing content and who uses hyper-local focused keywords. So, so how to sell my water damaged house or my flooded house in Savannah, Georgia. Now, how to sell my house fast in Savannah, Georgia. So we use a long tail keywords and always try to use hyper-local focus words in order to again reduce the competition for those keywords. Now, before I switch gears and talk about formatting, did you have any questions, Johnny, or maybe somebody from your audience?
Yeah, definitely. If you guys watching, drop any questions that you have in the comment section, and share those, and then we'll get Patrick to answer those. Because sure. I'll sit here and ask questions all night because it's really intriguing. That this is, still tried and true, that blogging is something, that's definitely kind of overlooked. But when you start talking about being able to rank for SEO and to be able to get leads without spending money on ads, that you really can't beat it.
Absolutely, and I'll get to a little bit about how blogging works or what's the results of blogging in a sec. But before I do that, let's talk a little bit more about the strategy, the tips on how to create a blog. One thing that people forget, the other thing that people forget rather, is Formatting. The formatting is so important. I kind of think of the
Hey Patrick,
magazines. Sure,
before we get on the format, we do have one question from Mike
sure,
Bell about
sure.
how long do you recommend a blog post to be?
Good question. I would say I normally like to do a absolute minimum of 1,000 to 1,100 words. If you have a meteor blog, you're going to get more SEO. Ideally, if you could do anywhere with 12 to 1,500 words, that's good. You don't need much more than that to really give valuable information and to really, show your expertise. There's some blogs that I've done that have 2 or 3,000 words, but it depends on the topic. But I would say if you're between 1,000 and 1,500, you're in a good safe zone. Google has their own recommendations. I would definitely not use 500 or 600 words. I've seen blogs that are 400, 500, 600 words, which frankly Google frowns upon that.
Mm. No, that's great. That's great impact. Because I
Very
think
well.
that's the thing that if you don't know that, you just go and take a few keywords and a couple of paragraphs and think you're good to go, but you don't realize that you could potentially be being penalized by Google because
Correct.
the article's not long enough. Okay.
Correct. So anyhow, so getting back to blog formatting, this is really, really important. Your reader wants to be informed, but you want to make it easy for the reader to be informed. I think that's less common nowadays, but when you see a wall of text on a page, you're going to exit out of there. You want to make it almost as effortless, where people can enjoy what they're reading, where they're being informed. And so to that end, what we include in the blogs that we create is we include graphics. We always have a hero image, a main image. We have secondary images. We use white space throughout the blog. You want to give it, room for the blog, for the content to breathe. We use call outs and bullet points and subheadings and GIFs and infographics and even videos. We like to insert videos inside of the blog whenever it makes sense. So keep in mind that the blog formatting is really important. By the way, as I mentioned, please visit this page and you can read you can go into a little deeper dive into it to kind of find out some more information behind what I'm sharing with you. So having said that, blog formatting is really important for the following reasons. When you have images, not only is it attractive and pleasant to read, but images are portals for people to find your blogs. It just so happens you all, I'm sure, know that Google indexes images. So the more images that I include inside a blog, it's another way for people to find that blog. If I Google a term, I can see, all content, I can see videos, I can see images. So aside from the aesthetic and, reasons, it's another SEO strategy. So that primary image, the secondary image that you use is very important in that it's a portal. It's a different way for people to find you. Same thing with infographics. I like to include infographics. Infographics it's a different way to communicate the message. So know the difference of the selling to a company that buys houses versus listing with an agent. So this is a title of a blog, and in it we have an infographic that we included at the bottom of the blog. So now, why do we add infographics? For two reasons. One, there's people that like to consume content by reading, and if you've got an infographic, it reinforces what they already read. Same thing with videos. I like to include videos. It's a different way for you to understand the content that they already read. And at the bottom of every infographic, at the bottom of every image, we always include the URL to your website, so that if they click on the image, they go to the blog and they simply read this, they can find out that you exist. They know that in this case, www.homesolutionsnationwide.com exists. So that's the reason we like to to add this to all the blogs, to all the infographics, to all the images, and even on the intro or outro of a video when we embed videos inside of the blog. Now, Continuing, the thing to keep in mind is that to use blogs are unique in the following way. If I and the term I was trying to remember was hamster wheel marketing. So if you use hamster wheel marketing, if you use that type of strategy, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this real quick, and we'll wait. So if I use hamster wheel marketing, what's hamster wheel marketing? Hamster wheel marketing is marketing such as cold is that if I cold call, it's an effective technique. But the second I stop cold calling, guess what? No more leads. If I send mail, if I send through the postal service, I send mail, I'm going to get leads. The second I stop sending mail, that's it. It runs dry. And what the allows you to get off of that hamster wheel marketing. It allows you to create content that works for you 24/7. It works for you for not days but for years, weeks, months, and years. So even though Craigslist, posting on social media, direct mail, Zillow, DoorDash, all of these techniques work, but find one or two of these strategies that's effective, that you enjoy, that's effective, that's giving you a good ROI, and for God's sake, complement it with evergreen marketing. Evergreen marketing and creating evergreen blog posts is a way for you to get leads, as I mentioned, for weeks and months and years down the road. So if I write an article on a topic, on a query, on what to do if I've lost my job, or how to sell a house if I lost my job, or I've lost my job, and how to sell my property. I'll show you samples of some of the blogs, for example, that we have in our content tags. So I lost my job, can't pay for the mortgage, 8 tips to in order to sell my property, to reduce the stress. 5 mistakes to avoid when selling a home with an agent, and then I could put my city and state. Or 5 effective tips to sell a house during a divorce, for instance. So, what is if I write an article based on and answer these questions, that article, that blog, that answer is going to be evergreen. If somebody Googles that term and finds your blog and reads your blog, the advice that you're going to give is not going to go, out of style tomorrow. It's not going to get stale in a month. It's content that people can read for a long time, and it's a way for you to drive traffic with an evergreen strategy without you doing much effort. So you write the blog once, and you get leads, for many months and years down the road. That's the basic difference, or the power of blogging versus that hamster wheel market. So again, I'm not saying to do away with this, but complement your strategies that you're already doing with evergreen marketing, and I guarantee you're going to get more leads. It's a no-brainer. So that's something that I always employ. I try to create 90%, 95% of my blogs so that they're evergreen. I might throw in a blog here or there. During COVID, I might mention something about COVID. If there's a recession, and we're either going into one or getting out of one. But I want 90% of that to be evergreen blog. So that's something for you to definitely keep in mind.
No, I love that, Patrick. My mind is overthinking. I'm thinking about how I can leverage this with some niche lists and focus in on maybe on certain areas that have that are more inclined for certain life occurrences. And so I'm just thinking of how I can bring the challenges that we know people in a certain area are facing, couple our marketing to target them directly, and then just bring the two together. So no, I love that approach.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's going to be something I'm going to brainstorm with my mentees and kind of bring and maybe do some trial and error in some different markets.
Wonderful. And I'm all about giving. By the way, you can visit me at www My name is patrickyepes.me. I don't want to sell anything to you. If you want to pick my brain, you have a couple of questions, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is there. And if you want some tips, additional tips or some advice, I'll be more than happy to do it. There's no charge. It's my way of, as I like to do, build social capital. So I'd be more than happy to do that. I'm going to switch gears just for a second. I explained to you a little bit about the strategies behind blogging. The fact is, and here's where I want to share something with you. The fact is that blogging is time consuming, and we as real estate investors, we have a tough schedule. It's I know that sometimes you get home very late at night. We work ungodly hours, and if we're hustling, the last thing in your mind is, I'm going to sit down and write a blog every week, or 2 blogs every week. To write a blog could take you, between studying it and getting information, and if you create an infographic and the copy, could take you 3, 4, 5 hours to do. So what we do is we have a product. It's called REI Content Packs, and what it is there are 52 blogs so that you can blog every week for an entire year. And they're pre-written blogs. So they're pre-written blogs that you can take. What my team does is they'll take those blogs, they will personalize all of the graphics, all the infographics, the videos, they'll personalize it with your company information, with your phone number, with your website URL. And then you simply need to, you just take it and upload it to your email, upload it to your website and publish it. So it's really a no-brainer. The REI Content Starter Pack, which is the offer that we have at the moment, there are 52 pre-written real estate investor blogs. They're specifically, and they're all aimed with one CTA, which is to get motivated seller leads. We have images on all the blogs. We have 38 infographics, which we include with the blogs. We have animated videos, which we also include. And you can always visit here and learn a little bit more about it. I'm just going to do real quick, Johnny. I just want to show you kind of what a typical blog would look like. And this is one of our blogs. The title on this one is Reasons Why My House is Not Selling and How to Fix Them. In this case, I put Miami, Florida. So you'll see how I'm using a long tail keyword. We want to include that long tail, that keyword in the title, and you want to include it in the first couple of paragraphs, if possible. Those are another tip that I'm giving you. So if it's frustrating when your Miami, Florida home is on the market, it goes on and on. But you'll notice that in this particular blog, you have a secondary infographic with your company information. There is a GIF here that we include. And you'll notice that it's the formatting, it's pleasant to read. It's not a wall of text that hits you, like a cold bucket of water. And in it, we have a secondary image. We go on, and we always want to have a CTA at the end. So, we've set it up in such a way so that you can insert your company name, insert your phone number, or what have you. And then, as I mentioned, in this case, we have an infographic, Reasons Why My Home is Not Selling. So there's an infographic in this particular blog. And then, of course, those external links that I mentioned to you. So if you don't have the time to blog and you're interested in purchasing pre-written blogs, it's a starting point for you to take these blogs. You can take them, personalize them, change them, add a different image, expand on them. But it's a great starting point for you to take this content, make it your own, and then publish it. So I've got clients that take it as is. They might change the image, added a paragraph or 2 to it, and instead of taking 2, 3, 4 hours to write a blog, you're taking 15 or 20 minutes. So that's what I wanted to mention to you, to your audience, that if you're interested, we have the REI Content Packs. And Johnny, I'm going to stop sharing for the moment, so give me 1 second.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me There we go. And I wanted to share something with you, Johnny. So I'm going to surprise our audience in a sec. But I wanted to share, if somebody is interested in purchasing the REI Content Pack, there's a URL, there's an affiliate, there's a link rather that I shared with you earlier today. Can I add that to the chat?
Yeah, yeah, just drop it in chat there.
Okay.
That'll be good.
Okay.
And then we'll bring it up on the screen
I'm
as
going to
well
drop it in
too.
chat. Okay, if you could bring it up on the screen, that'd be great. If you folks visit REI Content Packs, and if you click on the link that's either in the chat or that Johnny's going to share with you, you'll be able to read a little bit more about not only what I just described to you, but learn a little bit more about the content packs and what they're all about. And then Johnny, what I wanted to share with you, and I'm going to catch you by surprise, but for your audience, if anybody's interested in purchasing the REI content packs, I'm offering a 10% discount. At the checkout, all you need to type in is Johnny 10%. So it's an easy to remember. Johnny 10%. You'll get a 10% discount off the price. The price of it, and I'll tell you right, it's $297 for a year's worth of blogging. So if you think about it, and had clients who just gush over what we do, but if you do one deal in the entire year, and if you're a wholesaler, you might make $7, $8, $10,000. If you're a fix and flipper, you might make $20,000 or $30,000. You can do the math. For an investment of less than $300, the ROI is just through the roof. So I did want to share that with you, Johnny. And as I was speaking, I'm going to throw something else in, Johnny, just for your audience. If anybody purchases the REI content pack using Johnny's 10% and using the URL, I'm going to throw in 3 corporate videos. So these corporate videos that I'm going to throw in, you can use them on your homepage, you can use them in your emails, you can use them in your About Us section, and I'll do one better. If you select one of the 3 corporate videos that you like, and we'll do a cartoon, a caricature of you, the owner, and you'll be speaking on that video. So, Johnny, I'm going to throw that in. It occurred to me as you were speaking. I think that would be a little extra special gift to your audience.
No, I definitely appreciate that, and I know my real estate geniuses as well too. Because you think about it, for the price of one Starbucks cup of coffee, you can get a blog on your website each week. And and I think it comes down to that return on investment. If you only get one deal from your blog that year, especially you think if you're like in a tertiary market where you're not in a huge city, that where you can rank easily. There's not as much competition. That no, I think that's definitely powerful. And I think it comes down to resources, time and money. It's like, okay, do you want to write 52 blogs yourself, or can you pay $297 and save all those hours of time with writing for the whole year and just focus on deal flow? So no, I definitely appreciate that with the value add there for the community.
Sure. And it's something I'm doing for you, Johnny, because I like you a lot. So I want you to know that.
I definitely appreciate it, Patrick. And we got a couple questions too. Definitely drop the questions in chat. We brought one up from Investor Success Mindset on YouTube. What are the key metrics that real estate investors should track to measure the success of their blogging efforts?
Excellent question. The answer is, first, make sure you get Google Analytics loaded onto your website. And if you haven't been blogging, fire up Google Analytics, turn it, get it set up, and then see the amount of visitors that you get to your website. The fact is, the reality is, and Johnny, I'm sure you know that, you can create the most beautiful website in the world, and you're going to hear crickets. It's not as in that movie Field of Dreams, that if you build it, they will come. If you build it, nobody comes. You have to make an effort to drive traffic to your website. So there's various strategies. and cheap. I don't want to pay. I think Mark Zuckerberg has enough money, and I think Google has enough money. I want to give them money. So I try to use organic strategies, whether it's social media to drive traffic to my website or blogging. And frankly, blogging is in many respects even better than social media because of the fact that it's evergreen. So what you do, and this is important, don't expect to get a sale, the first month out. Having said that, and I'll say this publicly, Lorenzo Sanchez, who's the founder of Alexo Deal Flow, purchased a blog. I was a guest. He invited me as a guest on his podcast, and he said, Patrick, in 60 days, don't quote me on it, if it was $20,000 or $25,000 he made from somebody that he got from the blogs. Now, guys, that doesn't happen every day, but it worked for him. He put it to work and he got it. So, the ROI is through the roof. But having said that, blogging is a strategy where you're not going to see a noticeable bump in traffic 6 or 7 months down the road. So don't expect that, but be patient, be consistent. Because when you blog, it's not as if Google erases it. It's going to live on the internet for a long, long, long time. So when you're blogging, you're adding more, as I like to say, Johnny, you're adding more fishing rods into the lake. Each blog is a fishing rod you're throwing into the lake to catch your motivated seller leads. So to answer that question, your Google Analytics. If you check your Google Analytics before 6 months, 7 months, 8 months down the road, you will see a noticeable improvement in your traffic.
Awesome. Got to measure the traffic. I love it. Let's see. We got another question from Judy. Have you utilized AI to generate content for your blog? Oh, that is a great one.
That's a great one, and I'll tell you, Johnny, I don't know where we're going, but with AI, I think we're entering another dimension, because it's amazing what it could do. To answer your question and to be completely transparent, I wrote every one of those 52 blogs. This is before AI was around. So a couple of years ago, about 2 years ago, I took every weekend, and literally every single blog that you see there was written by me. No ghostwriters, no assistants, nobody. It's a pet project that I took on over the weekends. I created all the graphics that you see there. In fact, even created the video. So it's something that it was just a pet project that I wanted to do. So it was written by me because I've got decades and decades of experience. Having said that, absolutely, AI will help you a lot in blogging. AI, I like to say, will get you 70% there, whether it's an email that you're creating, whether it's copy for a landing page, or even if it's blogs. Absolutely, and I can't deny it. However, not yet, but AI won't understand what we just spoke about today. They're not going to understand semantically related keywords. They're not going to understand all the SEO strategies. It's impossible. However, I would say that's an alternative. You go ahead, you use AI, use ChatGPT is the big one nowadays. You use that to get you, in this case, I'd say probably get you about 50% the way there. And then you take everything that I spoke about and you insert that into your AI generated blog.
No, I love it. I love it. That's the thing, that it's constantly evolving. Your strategy is going to evolve, and this is just one tool in your toolbox in order to get deals done and to continue to rank out there for SEO. And that's the thing that just like with blogging and social media content, that you create the content one time and it lives forever. That it's out there where the search engines can pick it up and people can come back and realize it, and it can convert potential deals and potential leads into deals. So, no, correct. That's awesome.
Correct. The benefits are manifold, but one of them, you position yourself as the expert. Second of all, you get more traffic to your website. Third of all, more traffic converts into chances that you're going to get more leads. And if you have more leads, somebody's going to fill out your opt-in form or pick up the phone and give you a call. I just want to add one last thing before we finish, Johnny. There's folks that have said to me, Patrick, I love everything that you've said. I love great. Everything is wonderful. I don't have time to upload blogs to my website every week and have to be worried about that. Do you have something? Do you have a service? And just to let your audience know, we have a done for you service where I have a team of VAs that work for me. And so what they do is they blog for you. So they'll take the blog, they'll put in your CTA, they'll fill out the information that goes in the copy, they'll upload it to your platform, whether it's WordPress or most sites are in WordPress, or if it's a Carrot site or whatever it may be. They'll upload it, they'll upload the images, the videos, the infographics, they will schedule it, and they will publish it every single Monday the entire year. We have no holidays. So we publish every single Monday. You get an email with your live website. And it's a way, Johnny, for people that purchase the REI content packs to have a set it and forget it, option where you can pick up the content pack, we do all the work, and you get all the benefits from just, sitting back and letting us take care of it for you.
No, that's awesome. Okay, we got another question here. He says, how can real estate investors use social media and other marketing channels to promote their blog and attract new readers? Great question.
Good question. Good question. You got a smart audience, Johnny. Good question. I'll just go on a small tangent. I have another company. It's Dream Big Marketing Services. So we provide marketing services for real estate investors. So we do video editing and we have copywriters and content creators, developers. But having said that, that's exactly what we do. That question is exactly what we do for many of our clients. We take excerpts of the blog and we publish them on Facebook. We'll take a excerpt of it and upload it as a story. We share it in the Facebook groups. If I have my own Facebook group, or if I'm a member of a Facebook group, I'll share an excerpt of that blog in a Facebook group, so that I can go ahead and you want to read more, click here, people will visit your website. So leverage, as I mentioned, that was one of the strategies. It's important to leverage your social media to drive traffic to your website by sharing an excerpt. An excerpt of the blog will create curiosity. They'll see a compelling title, the first paragraph that gives them some information, and then people know, if they're interested in the topic, they'll click through and visit your website.
No, I love that answer. Great answer. Because I think that's the thing, that you want to use all your resources and leverage them as much as possible. And take that content that you have written and repurpose it. I think that's one of the big things
Absolutely.
that people don't realize, is just being able to repurpose content is really, really powerful.
Yep. You could also, by the way, if you have an email list that you've built out, take one of the blogs that you publish every Monday, and you don't send them to them every week if you don't want, but maybe twice a month you send them your blogs. You say, here's a blog, and you share it with your audience. I'll get into a whole different presentation just on email marketing, the power of email marketing. But that's something. So for those of you that have an email list, that's beautiful for you to share the content that you write, share it with your audience. And what better if you've got a blog? You share an image, the image of the blog, the primary image, an excerpt, and say, hey guys, you want to read more? Here it is. Now, those people that receive emails from you, it's a way for you to stay top of mind with them. It's a way for you to showcase your expertise. And then you never know when one of the people that read your blog is having the issue or problem with your blog addresses, and they pick up the call and they say, you know what, Johnny, you've been sending me some great stuff. I want to talk to you, see maybe you can help me, and maybe if you can buy my house. So that's the idea. You want to, Johnny, as you said, repurpose what you've already created and use it to drive traffic to your business.
Yep, most definitely. And I think you can take these same principles that apply to raising capital and attract them private investors for your deals as well too, for those that's
Absolutely.
out there. Okay,
Sure.
We got another question here. Let's see. Mindset Transformation University. What are some common pitfalls that newbie real estate investment bloggers should avoid? That's another great.
Okay, good question. I think I addressed it in the presentation. Keep it. So number one, not using keywords, or not using long tail keywords. That's important. Not making your blog and your website, for that matter, not making it hyper local focused. If there's anything that if you learned anything this evening, if you want to scrap blogging and you don't believe in the power of blogging, visit your website. Ask yourself, Is it hyper local focused? If I visit this website, can somebody, my visitors, and more importantly, Google, do they understand, what's my market? What's my area? Maybe it's your area of specialty. I'm a multifamily investor. I'm a storage unit, a storage investor. I'm a residential. So make sure that it's hyper local focus, and if you can, also make sure that it focuses on what your niche is. Whether you're I don't know, if, you're a wholesale. Well, a wholesale wouldn't work in this way, but maybe you're a short sale expert. You're short sale, and that's your niche. Speak about that and make it hyper local focus. So that's one of the pitfalls. The other pitfall, and I think I addressed it before, is not to internally link your blogs so that you can get more SEO juice, not to externally link the blogs. And make sure that the bulk of your blogs, I argue that should be 90 to 95% for evergreen. You don't want to write a blog that's going to go, that's going to get stale, that's not relevant into the future, because you want that to be evergreen so that people, when they visit and read it, it's something relevant to the visitor.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think that's the thing with the mistakes to avoid, and I think that's the thing to realize, that there's never going to be a perfect solution, and you got to take action and move out, and you're gonna make some mistakes, but be willing to make tweaks along the way as you get that feedback, you track your analytics and learn, and you can continue to evolve along the way.
Right, and I should piggyback with one more thing, Johnny. Be consistent. And that's true about everything, everything, whether it's social media, whether it's cold calling. Be consistent. Don't blog for 2 or 3 months and then just throw in the towel. Be consistent. And when I say be consistent, a minimum of a year. So a minimum of a year. Again, you don't need, we're in a business where we're not selling widgets. So the margins on what we can make are really wide. So we don't need many sales. If we can do 2 or 3 sales in the year, just think about what 2 or 3 sales, not a month, just 2 or 3 sales in a year, how that's going to improve your bottom line. So be consistent, and you will reap the rewards. I do want, I forgot to this, Johnny. I'm not going to share my screen again, but if you visit my website, I'm such a firm believer of this, that I offer a money back guarantee, but I offer to pay you back twice what you pay. So it's a double your money back guarantee. Nobody has taken me up on it yet. Maybe somebody at some point, but that's how much I believe in it. That I offer you a double money back guarantee. If you blog and you say to me, no, it hasn't given me traffic, I haven't gotten leads, and ultimately I'd like you to make some extra money. If that's the case, come back to me. As many places you can get a hold of me, Johnny, as I mentioned, my website, and I'll type it in. I'll type it in. You can reach me. So my numbers, my emails, my Facebook, everything is there, so you can reach out to me.
Yep, no, that'll be great for anybody to reach that wants to follow up with you and reach out, so they can contact you. And yeah, I don't have any more questions. I'm like, you really dove in. I think you really taught tonight just the power of blogging, the specifics that we need to look out for the mistakes to avoid, and then just the approach, and then just the value with having most of that work already done with just the content pack that you all offer. I think it's phenomenal. Whereas that you're able to kind of provide the cheat code, if you will, to that solution. So no, I definitely appreciate that. And then been doing what you can for my real estate geniuses with my community, with being able to give that 10% discount. That's awesome. We definitely appreciate that as well too. I don't see any other questions or anything. I just want to go ahead, and I think we ended. Oh, we're a little bit over a couple of minutes, but not too bad. But just want to say thank you for coming through and adding so much value, and explaining blogging to us, and just the value behind it. And we'll look to see you here in the near future sometime and bring you back.
I love it. Thank you, Johnny. It's been a pleasure. Thanks so much. You have a wonderful evening.
You too. Thanks a lot, Patrick. All right, everybody. For all you real estate geniuses out there, y'all have a great night, and we'll see you next week.
Very well. Bye-bye now.